What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Pigskins and Pinfalls. I'm Dick Burns.
I'm Bobby Boomerang.
You want to try that again?
Yeah.
Rewind. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Pigskins and Pinfalls. I'm Dick Burns.
And I'm Bobby Boomerang. We're here to talk everything from the Colts and Jonathan Taylor to CM Punk's failure.
Ooh, that was a good one, but I think I still got you beat. We're here to talk everything from the start of the NFL season to Punk fired with reason.
Pretty good.
I couldn't let you have 3 weeks in a row.
We had two good ones. We had two good ones there, but yeah.
I couldn't let you have three in a row. Sorry, it just wasn't.
No worries, but
as always, every little bit of support helps keep this show running. You know what? You say it this time. Fuck.
I was going to actually.
Go
it's
ahead.
funny you mentioned that. As always, every little bit. It's gonna be a good show, right? It's gonna be a good show. As always, every little bit of support helps keep this show running. So make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a like on this video, leave your comment down below, and leave your expectations at the door.
Out the door. That's right.
How you doing, Dick?
Bro, we're having a great week. I don't know about I've been dealing with technical issues all week. The computer was back in the shop after last week's episode because I was just lagging so fucking hard. I don't know what was going on. I'm still kind of experiencing a little bit of lag. I'm hoping it doesn't come through on this, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, but other than that, I mean, I'm glad to have it back. I'm glad to have everything set up. Kind of been dealing with the flu this week, but it's okay. How about you?
Nothing new to report. Same old shit, just a different toilet.
Sounds about right. Well, I'll tell you what's the same old. It's the same old. Hearing
Yeah,
about
same old shit.
same
CM
old
Punk.
shit. But I think we finally made it to the end.
I think so. So, if you guys don't remember from last week, we reported about the backstage stuff that happened at All In, and the last we knew was that CM Punk and Jack Perry were both suspended while AEW did an internal investigation.
Well, the investigation is over, and we have our result as of, what was it, yesterday, the day before?
I think it was 2 days ago.
I think it was 2 days ago. Yeah, it was on Saturday. We're
Yep.
recording Monday night. I have Raw on behind me. We're still keeping track of that because we know we're inevitably going to have to find out what's going on with the Intercontinental title tonight. Is that record getting broken? Is it not? That's going to be decided tonight. I wouldn't be surprised. What do you think the chances are of them swerving everybody and just having Gable beat him right at the finish line?
Not 0, but less than 1.
I'd put it less than 10. I wouldn't say 1, though.
Anyway, talk to us about Punk.
Okay, well, like you mentioned, they put it into a investigation, and as it turns out, there was a decision made by both the AEW Discipline Committee and a third-party mediator. They decided it was the best course of action was to terminate with cause, and he's out the door. It's that simple. They made a statement. Tony Khan came out at the beginning of Collision and said, hey, I didn't want to do it, but I kind of had to do it. My hands were tied on this one. And honestly, there was a lot of debate of, was the Chicago crowd going to turn on everything and in light of all of this? But I think this has been bad enough of a strike that even Chicago was not there to back him up on this one.
Yeah, so I saw a couple different reports, and one of them said that somebody tried to start a CM Punk chant before the show went live, and that person got booed, and instead a Colt Cabana chant came out.
I also heard that there was dueling CM Punk and Colt Cabana chants at one point.
But the thing is like you said, Chicago wasn't there to back him anymore. You have been a long time defender of CM Punk. I believe at one point you even put him on your Mount Rushmore.
I don't think I ever went that far. I mean, you can quote me on that. You can.
I'm not gonna quote you on it. Maybe it was one of those nights back in the day, just you and me hanging out. I don't think you've said it on this show, but regardless, you have been a staunch CM Punk defender.
I've been his biggest defender on this podcast, while you have been his biggest retractor. That's kind of been how the dynamic is. But even what was it last week, the week before, we were only like 1 or 2 episodes removed when I finally said no, there's got to come to a head on this, and he soured on me. And,
yeah, because I even said, I go, CM Punk, your boy, and you said, not my boy anymore.
Yeah, I've made it very well known over the past couple of weeks that even I've turned. I'm out. I'm so out. And this is, I mean, it's just like the investigation was rumored. He lunged at Tony Khan. Monitors were knocked into his lap. He was screaming, "I quit," while he was being pulled away. There was a no. I put this in the notes right before we started because I remembered to put it in there. But there was a small moment where there was a rumor that Punk and Miro had words backstage. And it turned out it was just the two of them ribbing each other. It was like, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to be the next person. Next thing you know, you're going to be hearing we had a backstage confrontation. I mean, kind of, it's whatever. But, like, it's just...
It's in poor taste to make light of that when your name has been synonymous with backstage altercation as often as Punk's has been in the last, year?
Exactly.
Year and a half?
There's, at some point, you have to come to a head on some of this stuff. And that's kind of where we're at. And it's just the simple fact of the matter that this was the breaking point. This was what it took to be like, no, you're out of here. Like,
and there were other reports out there stating that TK felt he feared for his safety.
Yeah.
And originally I was gonna rip on him. But like then I started thinking about it and like, yo, I'm not in any position to tell you how you should feel whether you're threatened or not.
Let's not act like Tony Khan is a big guy either. Like he's kind of small in comparison to like being surrounded by a bunch of pro wrestlers. Like I can see how a professional wrestler can like coming at you, especially one with as much vitriol and hatred in him as Punk has had lately. I would not be surprised if he's like, okay, yeah, no, he actually will hurt me right now if he gets to me.
Right.
That's fair.
And also, again, like I said, was going to rip on Tony Khan for it, but, excuse me, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the CEO or the janitor. You should not feel threatened at work.
Absolutely. I can completely agree with that.
You know, I've been a bartender most of my life, and
how many times you got to cut people off and kick them out?
Exactly. The minute that happens, you cut them off, kick them out, and then you tell them not to come back. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that this is anywhere near
most bars have ban lists. That's usually how it happens. Usually,
like I'm not comparing this to altercation at a bar, but
no, it's far more professional of a setting.
Exactly, and how many chances did they give him? Like, there's reports coming out everywhere about other backstage altercations involving Punk, including one where he called William Regal Triple H's stooge.
Maybe that's a lot of the reason why Regal's like, I'm not happy here in AEW. Maybe it was too much butting of heads. You never know. And in reality, that's what the big story has been backstage in AEW has always been. There's too much butting of heads backstage, and there's not any control over it. We were saying weeks ago that it was clearly a Punk issue when everyone else is having to leave. When your director of talent relations has to leave the building because one of your talent doesn't get along with him and you're choosing the talent side, nah, there's a line. There's a line that had to be crossed.
When you create an entire second show for one superstar,
you call it a soft brand split because you have to separate these people, and now that brand split is pretty much out the door.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, part of me wonders if it's going to affect Collision.
I don't think so. No.
But like also as fans, dude, like it's kind of because it literally used to be like, all right, I'm gonna watch Wednesday for the Young Bucks. I'm gonna watch Friday for CM Punk.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like.
Yeah, there's definitely like the argument of are they going to lose any sort of viewership or anything like that. You're gonna hear the stupidity from some people, but the clear, like the sane minds are all thinking the same thing right now, and that is you fucked up, you're out the door. Simple as that.
Oh no, if it isn't the consequences of my actions.
Right? As we mentioned, we thought there was going to be there was a lot of people saying, is Chicago going to revolt? How is this going to affect All Out as a whole? Because there were also the original reports that the original plan for All Out was supposed to be Punk versus Starks for the real World's Champion. Well, first off, the real World's Champion is no longer a thing. There's just... That got trashed just about as easy at the 24/7. Like,
Well, the 24/7 wasn't easy. If you remember, what's her face?
Nikki Cross actually missed missed the
Exactly.
bucket.
So I think the real world championship was actually scrapped even easier.
I think so. Yeah,
It
that's
was like
fair.
a la Alundra Blaze
Yeah,
or
no, straight
Medusa.
up. They didn't even need to do, like they easily could have, and they just been like, yeah, we don't need this anymore. We can stop playing this whole game. Like,
Oh, it would have been such a heat thing if the Bucks would have come out in Chicago and done it, though.
again, we didn't do
Right,
predictions because half the card hadn't even been set yet.
right.
But they still, that was the big thing, was is Chicago going to turn on this crowd? There was one moment of the Bucks coming out to do that during their entrance, and they do the whole it's clobbering time thing just to be cheeky. Other than that, went off without a hitch, and there are a lot of people saying that this was one of the best AEW shows in of all time. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I've heard people say that it's show of the year, not match of the year, show of the
yeah,
year.
and that's bold considering all the great shows that we've gotten this year.
Yeah,
Over budget battle royal. This year it goes to charity instead of a title shot, which I thought was a great touch. Hangman wins it, donates to Chicago Public Schools. Him, of course, being a former teacher, good on him. I mean, this was your over the budget battle royal for everyone to get on television that doesn't have anything else better to do.
correct.
Okay, they do it every year. Good on them. And
Yeah.
I like the twist they put with it being for charity this year.
Yep, I agree. I'll never complain about money donated to charity.
Absolutely. We had Hikaru Shida, Willow Nightingale, and Sky Blue defeating Athena, Mercedes Martinez, and Diamante by pinfall in a 6-woman tag match. Billy Starks was on the outside with Diamante, which the original plan was supposed to be Billy Starks versus Athena for the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, but unfortunately she was not cleared in time. It happens, so
Yep.
plans change. You get a pre-show match out of it. Okay.
Sucks for Sheeta.
Why does it suck for Shida?
I mean, I guess it doesn't suck. Wrestling's very cyclical, but she went from being women's champ and now she's on the pre-show. That kind of sucks.
I mean, at the same time, she was a transitional champ in the first place.
Yeah.
So, what's it matter? At least
You know,
she's
for-
getting
in
on the
her
show.
first-
How different
and
is
her
that
first
than
run
being
was
in the
very
over the
COVID.
budget battle royal?
Yeah, it sucks for Hangman Page too.
Both of those two had extremely long reigns with their title. They can afford to be the person in the background for a little bit to make let some other people get their star time. That's the way
Fair
I
statement.
look at it. That's the way I look at
Fair
it.
statement.
The Acclaimed, your 6-man tag champs, versus Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal. I actually watched this match. I turned it on just in time to see this. Dennis Rodman coming out with the Acclaimed kind of telegraphed that what was going to happen. There's still the whole big feud right now with Karen Jarrett and Aubrey Edwards. So when they bring her out as the referee, this is your 6-man tag champs getting a spot on the show. You factor in Dennis Rodman because of course it's Tony Khan and he has to have his celebrity appearances from anybody in the past because they had to put over that Dennis Rodman was one of the original members of the NWO. They had to put that over.
Yep. Dennis Rodman also kind of went into business for himself. Like he hit Satnam with the guitar and then didn't get out of the ring.
Yeah.
Like, he just
think,
kind of.
well, and somebody, I forget who it was, somebody pointed this out. Rodman's in his 60s now, or something like that. Like, it makes sense that it took him a little bit of time to get out the ring.
Yep. Well, on to our main card.
On to the main card. Better Than You, Baby, defending the titles against Dark Order.
No surprise there.
No surprise. They succeed. It was a fun match. It's just the further tease that they're staying as tag champs for a little bit, and their friendship is really blossoming. The best touch about this, though, is that on the way back in, Joe comes out early, shoulder checks MJF. A callback to to when MJF had his cameo appearance in NXT. He was tweeting afterwards. He's like, "I'm not the same kid from Brooklyn. Let me know a time and place. Let's go." So maybe we're getting world champ versus world champ pretty soon.
I like it.
Yeah. This led into Joe versus Shane Taylor for the Ring of Honor World Championship, or the World TV Championship. I forget. He's not the world champ. But from what everyone is saying, this was everyone in AEW getting their opportunity to be introduced to Shane Taylor in a proper setting. Let's be real, there was no build to this, so there's not like it was like there was any shot of Joe dropping the championship, but at the same time, this was an opportunity for Shane Taylor to get a pay-per-view appearance, and I honestly, like, I'm here for it 100%. I think he is a very underrated talent who has been stuck on the Ring of Honor Impact loop for way too long, and I feel like this is his opportunity to get some, like, national exposure. So,
Good job,
Shane Taylor.
Yeah.
Luchasaurus defeating Darby Allin by pinfall. Darby is really good at making himself look like he's about to die.
So well put.
That's the way to put it. He's just really good at like he has. Who is somebody from early WWE that was like? It's like Crash Holly.
Mick Foley.
Well, Foley, yeah, because he's on Foley's level, like kayfabe wise. But like when it comes to how much he puts his body at risk as a weapon, I'd say Crash
Spike
Holly.
Dudley.
Spike Dudley. Yeah, great example. Right there with him. Great example. During the post show, Christian, of course, is acting like he's the one defending the TNT title. And he's talking about how he wants to make it the real world championship. So basically, they're trying to put some more prestige on the TNT championship, even though it's kind of in the dumps right now. Also states that he has re-signed with AEW. Didn't say how long for, but he did say that he's re-signed. So, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think AEW's got a lot of titles, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
A lot of titles.
Miro
that led us to our next match.
Yeah.
The next match, which I don't care about the match, I care more about the angle at the end.
Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Miro defeating him by submission. Everyone keeps saying it's a Big E classic, is what they're calling it right now, because it's just big meaty men slapping meat. And that's exactly what this match needed to be. I'm more about the fact that everyone was coming up with amazing chants for this one. There was apparently like, holy meat. How about you tell us about the post-match then, since you love it so much?
Yeah, so then after, I believe it was after the match had ended, we got a debut.
We did.
We got a debut.
We did. And, one that they kept very well hidden.
So CJ Perry shows up, who you WWE fans might know as Lana, the Ravishing Russian, who is real life married to Miro. But so she comes down into the ring, and Miro looks like he'd seen a fucking ghost. And then he just...
Well, let's talk about the reason she came out. It's because of the fact that Hobbs was beating him up after the match, and then she comes out and hits Hobbs with a chair, which he no-sells because it's CJ Perry throwing a chair at Powerhouse Hobbs. It's not going to do shit.
His name is Powerhouse. Of course it's not going to do anything.
Right, but it was enough to give a distraction that made Miro get the upper hand. But
then so like Miro just screams, "You're not real," and leaves.
Well, people pointed this out. I didn't understand it that well either, because of course we don't watch as much AEW as we do WWE. We're not Fed loyalists. That's what we get the time for, and because I don't have to pay $60 to watch the show.
Correct.
We're not making money yet. I can't use this as a tax write-off. But
help us get there,
please. But it's
the story behind it.
The story behind it, of course, is recently him saying, "Well, I denounce my God, I denounce my wife, if that's what it's going to take for me to win gold," and that was the whole big thing. So him denouncing his wife, now she's not real. They did say during the post show,
that is so stupid.
It's so stupid. I get it.
That is so dumb.
It's so dumb. But you know what? If it means that we get CJ Perry on television in a package with Miro, just let her be his manager again, please.
Okay. Who would you rather have as be his manager, CJ Perry or Aiden English?
Oh, that's not fair. That's not. Actually, no. I would still say CJ. I would still say CJ. No, I'm not.
You don't believe that.
I do believe that, because I thought about it and I was just like, yes, the whole Rusev Day gimmick was, like, perfect. He was a great, like, voice for it. But you cannot tell me that her being the ravishing Russian Lana, coming out with him while he's on a fucking tank, is not more impactful than them doing this whole Rusev Day gimmick because they have a chant going.
What was more over?
Honestly, the tank was. The tank
Rusev
was.
Day. Rusev Day is why Rusev's not there anymore. It got him. It was so over. It got him fired.
He would never have been there if it had not been for his monster push when he first got started.
I agree. But no, I mean, I do agree with you. If we get CJ Perry on screen for a couple of weeks, like, cool.
They did. Well, so Tony Khan also said during the post-show conference that she is signed to a temporary deal. It's not a long-term deal. It's a temporary deal. It's not long, from what I understand.
That tells me that they have a plan for this storyline with Miro. If CJ Perry is only signed to a temporary deal, and it's something that's not going to be long-term, that means she's there for a very specific storyline, and they know what they want to do with it.
And it's going to lead to her being, like, if anything, I think what it is that if the storyline goes well, and they try a couple dates out with her as a manager, then it'll turn into her being full-time. All right.
Moving on.
Chris Statlander defeats Ruby Soho for the AEW TBS Championship. Ruby being, of course, now a transitional champion, which is unfortunate, but oh well. And also it is further teasing the dissolving of, I had to think of the right word, the dissolving of the Outcast, because you had Toni Storm literally hiding under the ring to attack Ruby mid-match to where the ref doesn't see it, costing her the victory. So we're getting some movement out of this whole Toni Storm, like, leaving the Outcast storyline.
Yep.
This is slowly becoming, of course, a Ruby and Saraya face turn. I like it. I like that they're at least building some storylines out of their women's division. Like, good. At least they're doing that much right.
Yeah,
About
I
damn
agree
time.
with you. I agree with you. That takes us to, in my opinion, the match of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian
Danielson
not that you
defeated
watched it, but
No, but I've gone back and watched highlights, and I've listened to enough talking heads talk about it.
That's
and
fair.
You know.
So, as we mentioned, the original plan was supposed to be Punk versus Starks. Then it started getting turned into Starks versus Ricky Steamboat, which everyone's saying, hey, wait a minute, Ricky Steamboat. We were even saying this last week that there were rumors about that going around, and I'm like, Steamboat's retired. That ain't right.
Right.
How did they play it off?
Instead of Ricky the Dragon, they got the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and had him do a no DQ strap match.
Which, for one, everyone with the original stories that they were giving everybody was, I'm going to be out until around October. Now, I got to point out, it was during Forbidden Door when he broke his arm. An arm break, as nasty as it sounds, like a fracture in your forearm like that, is one of the quickest bones to heal.
Yeah.
That's why, like, because, like, especially, like, when you're a kid, you always see, like, somebody broke their arm, they're out of a cast within 8 weeks. Like, It's only been about 8 weeks. So.
And not to steal your thunder, because you put this in the notes, but in the post-show, or the post-show, like, media scrum, Bryan Danielson pointed out that, go back and watch that match, he did not throw a single strike with his right hand.
Which is the right way to do it. Because you're protecting it. Yes, you may have just gotten cleared, but just to be safe, you're not doing anything with that arm.
Danielson just crimson mask.
They gave this match 22 minutes, so
yeah,
that's good enough in itself.
Put Bryan Danielson on my TV for 22 minutes, I'm intrigued. Yeah. I don't care what he's doing.
TK also put him over during the post show, mentioning that if he was the guy that Danielson was the guy that if TK were ever hit by, like, a bus or something and he needed to rely on somebody to take over for him, Danielson's that guy. And the fact that Danielson came in, got himself cleared the week, he just got cleared this week, and it was probably because of, in light of the situation with Punk, they're like, no, we need you back, and
go find out if you can do this or not.
Yeah, and Danielson has always been as much of a professional and, like, has been right there for everything, just as much as Mox is always being lauded for it. So, I mean, locker room leader, it's the best thing you can see, and you're putting him into the spot where you were supposed to have Punk, and the fans are completely over. Also, I want to point out classic trope of him saying that he needs longer to heal than he really needed, so that way it can be a big surprise when he returns early. Cena did the same thing with his return at the Rumble back in '08.
That was just superhuman though with Cena. Cena was
no, that now that we are like 15 years into the future, it's come out about how like no, they knew he was only ever going to need like 3 or 4 months. It was still a stretch for him to get in by the Rumble, but they knew like he would be healed around that time. They knew from the very beginning that they were saying it was going to take 8 months, knowing it would have only taken maybe 3 or 4. They did that on purpose. And honestly, it's great because who's going to see that coming? No, because you know they're injured. You just don't know how injured they are.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. That's actually really fucking smart. I've never really put any thought behind that.
Yeah, that was exactly what they did with Cena back in '08. Like it's a great move.
Speaking of Bryan Danielson, that takes us to Blackpool Combat Club.
Mm-hmm.
Taking on Eddie Kingston and Shibata.
Which, let me just go ahead and take a moment. Shibata's return to wrestling, in the same way that Danielson's was, is just it's amazing to see because like I've gone back. What was it? I was watching Shibata versus Orange Cassidy for the international title like early in the reign, and I was just like, yo, seeing Shibata wrestle again is just fucking amazing. Like the man's just one of the best pure strikers in all of wrestling right now. Unfortunately, they do take the loss here. It's further playing off the whole Claudio versus Eddie Kingston rivalry.
And that's gonna be
which
when that comes to a head.
I mean, technically, it already has. They did already have that match at what was it, Death Before Dishonor? I believe it was. Yeah, it was whatever Ring of Honor pay-per-view it was. But the fact that they're continuing that rivalry is just, it's beautiful. This then leads into Takeshita getting the win over Omega in a 30-minute bloodbath of a match as well. Because name 2 words that go better together than AEW and bloodbath. Takeshita gets the win in along what everyone is saying is their favorite match of the night because I mean,
and like with Don Callis and like the screwdriver,
not to mention it's one of the best built storylines in AEW right now. We also need to point out we made a huge error with the All In picks last week, and technically I was the rightful champion. Turns out that we originally said that Omega rolled up Takeshita. It was the other way around. Takeshita rolled up Omega. This is Takeshita getting wins, back-to-back wins at All In and All Out. They're really making Takeshita out to be one of their next big stars. If they're going to continue going down this road with MJF going on a face turn, I think Takeshita's a great person to put up against him in the near future.
A great way to build up your new top heel is having him beat Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, we'll come back to that. Who the current Pigskin and Pinfalls champion is here in about 5 minutes. Bullet Club Gold, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, Jay White, and Juice Robinson defeated FTR and the Young Bucks.
This was a spot fest. We know it was going to be. You have FTR and the Young Bucks who can afford to eat this loss, putting Bullet Club Gold over when they need it most, because you're really building them up to be a threat, which you need threats right now. I think it's really good that they put Bullet Club Gold over. I think this is going to do wonders for that stable. The question is, what do they do next?
Which, that'll take us to our main event, the only title change of this show. Jon Moxley defeats Orange Cassidy by pinfall in a singles match for the AEW International Championship. Gave him 20 minutes. Moxley gets a main event. No big surprise there.
Can we just one time for Orange Cassidy's reign? He has been their absolute workhorse. Here's a fun thought. Here's a fun fact for you. Orange Cassidy has defended it more times than Roman has.
No surprise there. I'm pretty sure I've defended my title more times than Roman has, and I don't have a title.
Orange Cassidy has been a better champion than Roman Reigns. There it is.
No.
I'm sorry. You can have Roman having his bloodline storyline and everything, but when it comes down to actual defenses, He has been putting on banger match after banger match after banger match, had a 31 win streak.
I just flat out disagree with you.
That is me like being contrarian tonight.
So, I mean, just to, play a little bit of devil's advocate here, we're not spending the money to watch Orange Cassidy in the main event at All In, but we make sure our Peacock subscription is paid every month so we can watch Roman.
No, because he wasn't even on the show this month.
That's this
he wasn't
month,
even on Payback.
That's okay.
He hasn't been on TV in about a month.
He didn't have to be. Payback was great.
Payback was great.
Which leads us to...
Hang on, is there anything else that we're missing of the scoops from All Out? Yes, there is. One more thing that was coming out of the post-show. Somebody made a point of how Sonny Kiss's profile had been removed from AEW's website. They did confirm that Sonny Kiss has completed his contract. It has not been renewed. He is now a free agent. He is departing the company, but Tony Khan did point out when he was addressing it that there is nothing that says that he can't come back in the same manner that Stu Grayson did. So, like, just because they're letting one of their originals go doesn't necessarily mean that's the end of the road for them. He even said he put Sonny Kiss over and was just like, she's an amazing wrestler, but at the same time, I can't afford to keep everyone. So
I feel like they haven't done much with Sonny Kiss since they started.
And that is the argument too. But at the same time, again, like it's not like it hasn't been without trying. Like what was when they had the whole storyline with Joey Janela before Janela left, when they were tagging together, and it went nowhere. I mean, she was a regular fixture on Dark, and with the fact that she is an LGBTQ wrestler, this is why I believe that she follows the same path that Stu Grayson did. She goes to Impact, who has been historically really good with the LGBTQ population, with their storylines and everything. I think that would be the best place for her to rebuild her star and then come back in the same way that Stu Grayson did.
Fair enough.
I don't know. That was the only other notes that we had coming out of the scrums, so...
From Sonny Kiss to Chef's Kiss, Payback.
You're really gonna go with Chef's Kiss? That good of a rating?
I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. So here's your predictions. You win.
Again.
It all fringed on, honestly, that tag team match, which we'll discuss when we get to it. Let's put it technically in the order.
And my called shot.
Yeah, well, yeah, because that happened during that part of the show.
Tag team match. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so while you're doing that, we opened up Payback with the cage match between Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus, which,
they really. All right. While we're addressing things from the very start, let's also point out, and the Triple H made this point during the post-show press conference as well. A lot of the reason they did it, like they kept this to only 6 matches because they wanted all the matches to get their time to breathe. So a lot of the reason they didn't put Gunther and Chad Gable on this show is they wanted them to have their time on Monday night, which is going to be which is looking like it's going to be the main event tonight,
as it should be.
Yeah, as it should.
Yeah, so and they gave Becky Lynch and Trish, I think it was like 20 minutes.
They gave it 20 minutes even.
Yeah, and it was very good.
It was an amazing match. They've really, like, this being Trish's first cage match, she really put everything that she had into it. Props. I especially have to give them props because they played into the history of cage matches and the fact that the very first one was Victoria versus Lita, and we had Becky. We saw
Trish hit Widow's Peak.
Trish hit Widow's Peak, and then Becky hit a Twist of Fate. So
it
was a quick little shout out to the two of them.
Yep.
Beautiful. It was an amazing match. As expected, Zoe Stark gets involved. Ends up getting locked into the cage with Becky at one moment. She just takes the both. I was so sure this is what I exactly called it, was that Zoe was going to get involved, and that was going to cost her. But no, Becky hit.
Becky badass over here.
Manhandle slam to the both of them. Trish takes a manhandle slam from the top of the cage, which is
Avalanche. Avalanche Manhandle Slam.
Avalanche. Call it ambulance.
But yeah, it was fucking nasty. And then at the end, I wouldn't say Zoe turned on Trish. Trish just kind of booted Zoe.
No, Zoe turned.
But
it was Zoe
Trish
turned because it ends with Zoe giving Trish the Z360.
Yeah,
it's a turn.
But Trish initiated by slapping her in the face.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, it was a great opener. Really, really good opener.
Mm-hmm.
And then that took us into our host of the night. Host showing up late, never a good sign. But
no, he was there on the pre-show. I'm also going back to the full frame. We're not sharing screen anymore because we don't need to stare at that while we give our reviews of shit.
Yeah. But Cena came out, did his little host promo, and then decided he was going to make himself special guest referee.
Well, the fact was he was like, if I'm going to make this show special, then I'm going to do something special, and I'm going to make myself a special guest referee of a match that I was showing. They tease a little bit of dissension. They tease a little bit of him facing off with LA Knight. They're really starting to build that up a little bit. LA Knight gets the win in a 15-minute match.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that match went as long as it did, honestly. We all knew LA Knight was winning this match. What it really served to do was point to a potential Cena Knight promo, which would be interesting.
Yeah, just like I texted you, I said, keep putting LA Knight in these feuds with people that are great on the mic because all it's going to do is elevate him.
100%. And I also want to point out, I don't know if we've mentioned it on the air yet or not, but it has been confirmed Cena's availability over the next couple weeks is directly tied to the Hollywood strikes. That it was made obvious, and that's why he's going to be on SmackDown for the next couple weeks. No complaints here.
No surprise there, and good for him for getting that money.
Right? Got to do something while you're not working.
Yep.
Keep yourself busy. Rey Mysterio defeating Austin Theory for the United States Championship.
Presented by Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Presented by Cinnamon. So you put in the notes is why is it that every Rey Mysterio match is sponsored by Cinnamon Toast Crunch? I don't know. Maybe he's gonna be the future of. There's.
I looked it up, and basically Cinnamon Toast Crunch signed a deal with WWE, and they brought back emoji-shaped Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Well, they had them on Up, Down, Down this summer, even.
And I guess somehow they went from Cinemojis to luchador masked wrestler Rey Mysterio, and now Rey Mysterio basically sold his soul to the Cinnamon Toast Crunch Devils. We welcome our Cinnamon Toast Crunch overlords and continue to hope that Rey Mysterio does not retire ever.
I don't know about you, but I love me some Cinnamon Toast Crunch, so I'm not complaining.
I had some last night.
There you go. I think I'm gonna have to get some on the next grocery trip. I'm sorry. Product placement is getting me.
But the match itself, kind of middle of the road.
Shortest match of the night.
Yeah.
Just shy of 10 minutes. This was a storyline progression, and it was just basically to go ahead and finish writing off Austin Theory from the United States picture. However, before we move on, I need to address we have a Nostra-Dumbass confirmation. We have one. Let's rewind the clocks back to episode 14, which was the same week as the NFL and WWE draft. This is my call for this year. This is the Nostra-Dumbass call. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory are a perfect tag team. Whenever Austin Theory drops the U.S. title, the two of them could really go for the tag titles. Introduce Waller as much of a smarmy, self-indulging heel as Theory. That's perfect. I said that by year's end, we were going to get Austin Theory and Grayson Waller as a tag team. And they have been going around calling themselves the greatest tag team now. They're basically showing that they're moving on from the United States picture. They're putting the two of them together for a tag team run. I fucking called it. It is a perfect matchup. One more for the guy.
Yeah, and I believe episode 14 I was out, so
you
that
were.
was a solo.
It was a solo episode because it was like you were in the middle of moving still, but it was like there's just too much going on that we can't go a week without.
Correct. So congrats to you for your Nostra-Dumbass call. We do have a little database that we're storing them in, so we can remind you guys when we're right.
4 months.
When we're wrong,
that one lasted 4 months.
yeah. And when we're wrong, we'll never talk about it ever again. So
They don't need to know.
exactly.
But you better believe we're going to call it when it's right.
But yeah, so again, match, no harm, no foul. It was a nice little, honestly, man, it was like a nice way to settle the crowd down after a fire cage match, an LA Knight match. Even if it was a bad match, it's LA Knight, and he is so over, the crowd was going to be revved up for it. So it kind of settled the crowd down, which then brings us into my match of the night.
My match of the night as well.
Yeah.
My God.
The Steel City Street Fight for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest against KO and Sami Zayn.
We were sitting here texting each other during this match, and we were just like, you know what? There is no better way to describe it than this is just a fun match.
Fun. It was fun to watch. You could tell they were enjoying it.
They put their everything into this too. They put
shout out Kevin Owens, man. His tailbone's gotta be hurting.
I would like to point out how Sami Zayn has been all over this episode of Raw so far, but there's not been a single sight of KO, probably because he needs to heal after everything that happened to him. Yeah. So like some of the great highlights from this, of course, I think the first moment that made us pop was when it first went out into the crowd and they had Dom get involved and they threw him over the barrier. And they're sitting here arguing with one another about how they're going to go. And then what do we see?
This Payback took place inside the same arena where the Pittsburgh Penguins play.
Mm-hmm.
What they did, Priest and Finn Balor essentially dumped them into the penalty box.
Was how they called it, was the penalty box, which is
and then
perfect.
They cut away to just Priest and Balor talking about what they need to do to win the match and everything, and the camera cuts back, and now KO and Sami were wearing Penguins jerseys.
One was wearing Moon, Sidney Crosby, which the Sidney Crosby one stings a little bit, but
it does. As Caps fans, not a big fan seeing that 87.
Hey, I'm not a Caps fan anymore. Look, I am home. I can claim myself to be a Canes fan again. It's okay. I'm home now. I can come out of hiding. I'm a Canes fan through and through. I have been since they brought the first championship home to the North Carolinas.
Fair enough. But no, that wasn't the first thing that popped us, though.
No.
The first thing that popped us was like 45 seconds into the match. Priest and Balor go out and they go under the ring looking for weapons and whatnot, and they find a basket of terrible towels.
And immediately the first thing you text me is, "There's my call," and I was like, "I told you I liked it. I told you I liked it." And because it was so appropriate. This was so much of a love the Pittsburgh match.
Yes.
Inevitably, what it comes down to, all four members of Judgment Day are getting involved, and then JD McDonough comes out and gets involved as well.
So Rhea spears KO through the barricade.
Mm-hmm.
That takes him out. And then Sami is covering, I believe, Finn.
Mm-hmm.
And JD McDonough
was covering Damian and pulled him out, because then it was Damian sharing the look with him. Was like, wait, what?
Yeah, you're right. But JD McDonough grabs Sami Zayn by the ankle, pulls him out of the ring. That causes the distraction. And then, we get Judgment Day pinning Sami and our new undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. Judgment Day.
Again, give KO and Sami their flowers as well, though, because they put their bodies on the line in this match.
And they deserve some time off.
KO, both of them have been dealing with injury issues all throughout this time, too. Let's not forget them chasing those titles took forever as well, dealing with the whole Bloodline storyline. Mm-hmm. So they have been putting in the work. It doesn't matter that this reign was relatively short. It didn't need to be a long reign. They're Teflon at this point.
Yep.
So
and we just had a super long reign from the Usos, so it's not a bad shout at all. Sami Zayn might be my WWE MVP this year.
I have to agree. Not gonna lie, he has been MVP this year by far. Actually, no. And this is contradictory, and this is a little bit of a hot take, but I think it's on the opposite side. I think Judgment Day have been the MVPs here.
I
And
think
it
Sammy's been
won't.
consistent the whole year.
Well,
Judgment Day, we were
no,
tired of.
because they're
We were
building.
bitching and complaining about Finn Balor versus Edge at Mania.
Was that really Mania this year?
Yeah.
My God, it was.
Yeah, Sammy has been.
Well, since then
Sammy
they've
has been
been since then they've been on fire though.
Sammy, I agree, but Sammy's been hot since January.
That's a fair argument. That's a fair argument. Anyways, though, the other thing about this too, and we were talking about this as well, the Judgment Day are the perfect people to hold those titles because they've been in discussion now about breaking those titles up. You already had, and there's already been all this talk about how much love there is for Judgment Day backstage, and you've already got, for one, the image that they had at the end of the match of all of them holding all the gold was a pristine moment. I'd say it's better than seeing the Bloodline holding it all.
6 titles between 4 people.
Which the Bloodline was 6 titles between 3 people, technically, but still. Well, no, because now it's 6 titles and a briefcase between 4 people. Let's not forget
Correct.
the briefcase too, because that was the whole big thing. Was that like you had Priest holding one on his arm, holding the other one, and then the briefcase with the other arm.
Yeah.
That shot alone is perfect, and the idea with that as well is that now you have the Judgment Day, who is beloved backstage, has already been helping their numbers with Dom getting involved with NXT recently. Their numbers have been going through the roof on NXT, so now you're getting an opportunity to put the Judgment Day on all 3 shows when they are also, let's acknowledge as well, a lot of people are saying, and we were even saying this a matter of weeks ago, the Judgment Day right now is more over than the Bloodline.
Yeah.
Like the Bloodline storyline, everyone's done with it. Like it's taken so many twists and turns now that everyone's kind of sick of it. The Judgment Day rule WWE now.
Speaking of the Bloodline turns, after this match, we got the Grayson Waller effect, where he brought out Cody Rhodes, and Cody was what every wrestling fan thinks. He goes, "You're gonna call me some names. We're gonna argue. We're gonna fight. I'm gonna hit you with a crossroads. I'm gonna walk off." And Grayson Waller was like, no. He's like, whatever, man. He's like, I've been around.
We're going to subvert expectations here.
Like, and Cody names every fucking talk show. Piper's Pit, Flair for the Gold, Miz TV. He names them all. And he goes, well, I got a little bit of pool backstage. And I used what little bit of pool I have. And I cashed in all my chips. And I asked for a favor. And I'd like to introduce the newest member of the Monday Night Raw roster. Jey Uso.
I didn't see this one coming.
Me either.
And it makes all the sense in the world, but I didn't see it coming, and I love it because of it. Because it's just, and we should have known something was up because when they had Jimmy come out, and they made a big deal about Jimmy coming back on Friday night, and he had his own theme music. It was telegraphing so much that they're definitely like separating the two of them.
And now Jay has his own theme music.
And they both have their own theme music. They're both going on their own individual singles run. The only problem here is that you've got Jimmy still tied in with the whole Bloodline storyline. Jay's off to do his own thing now. He opened Raw tonight with an amazing promo about, it's like, it's all me now.
And right when Jay came back, you texted me and you said, landscapes have shifted tonight.
100%. Because look, and we'll get into the final match of the night as well, and we'll talk about the implications there as well, but that's a fresh face that you're putting in the title picture on Raw. And he has fresh matchups with literally everyone. Like, the minute that was happening, we were questioning, where do they go with the title picture now? Before we get into that, though, I also want to point out that it was only like a few weeks ago that we were talking about how the discussion was they're still looking at Jimmy versus Jay for WrestleMania, and they didn't know if it was going to last that long. Putting them two on separate shows will make it last that long. We still very well could get Jimmy versus Jay at WrestleMania 40.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely,
I'd love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see that.
So then that brings us to, in my opinion, the dud of the night.
I would not say so.
I,
I
of
would
all,
not. The two of them still put on a hell of a match.
it was Rhea Ripley defeating Raquel Rodriguez.
Oh, shit. I thought we were still on. I thought we were on the final match of the night. My bad.
Oh, no. The dud of the night,
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez.
As much as we would have liked it to be, there was at no point where Raquel felt like she was a proper challenge for Rhea. And I think that's the problem with it. It's just that she wasn't built up. Like, they've built her up, but not enough. I think that this is just another case.
And it was too long.
I agreed. It went 17 minutes. And it honestly, like, it did drag on a little bit. It's good that they tried to give them their time, but it did drag on a little bit. And it even with Dom, of course, Dom gets involved, as always. But, like, I would have rather this been, like, a 10, 15-minute sprint between the two and just beating the shit out of each other. That would have made it so much better.
I wouldn't have minded a squash match here. Honestly, keep having Rhea be dominant.
Yeah. I wouldn't be mad at it either.
So, Rhea's run has not been great.
It hasn't, but it's been really slow so far. And I texted you this as well, though. I think that's because of the fact that they want her to have a long reign with that title. They want to add some prestige to that title, make it worth a damn with it being the brand new title, even though it's not really brand new. It's just rebranded because they already did the title split. Now they just don't have to make them brand specific anymore, which thank fuck. But it's the idea that, again, it took too long. This reign has not been good from her so far. She hasn't had solid competition, and I think a lot of that right now so far has been they've got to figure out the top of their women's division on the babyface side to figure out what's going on, because it's too soon to feed Becky to her.
Yeah.
If you send Becky out there, and you have Becky lose, it's gonna make her look stupid weak. So you got to build it up with all these lesser names right now. They had her dealing with Natalya. They had her dealing with Liv Morgan. Now they've got her going on to Raquel. Now they start moving because Bianca's still out, which they don't want. They're putting off Rhea and Bianca as long as they can. It's the new Undertaker Shawn Michaels. It's the feud that we all want, but it's going to take a few years before we get there.
Oh, feed Piper Niven to her.
No, because Piper Niven's a tag champ right now. And she's also a heel. Wouldn't make sense. But now look at all these big names that you have coming out as baby faces now. Zoe Stark just got a babyface turn. Becky's freed up now. I texted you the idea of let Zoe go in, then let Becky go in, have the both of them lose, have the two of them be intrinsically tied together still, and go on a tag run together. I don't think that's going to happen now after what we saw tonight, but it's worth a shot. Which, to go ahead and give the update on that, because Raw's been on back behind me this entire time. Oh, look. The Intercontinental title match is on now.
As it should be.
As it should be. It is the main event time. But so instead, they, just to go over what happened tonight, so we can see where the story progression goes there as well. Zoe's getting interviewed backstage. Shayna challenges her to a match. Shayna confronts her. They challenge each other to a match. They go out to the ring. They put on a hell of a match. It was like solid 10 minutes. And then afterwards, they're just like, they kind of like shake. Baszler gets the win by choking Stark out, and then she is helping her up afterwards. She's like, you put up more of a fight than Ronda did. Gives her a fist bump. And like they walk out like cheering each other on. It's like, okay. And I even said, like, while we were getting ready on the air, it's like, is this a Shayna face turn? And again, it's so that way you could have another person to face off against Rhea. That could potentially be a good challenger.
Possibly.
You don't need Shayna as a heel right now. You don't really need any other heels at the top of your card, because you've got Rhea having a chokehold on that title. It makes no sense for anybody else to be playing the heel. Just let everyone just go after Rhea now.
That's fair. Main event time.
Main event time. Now we can talk about it. 26
Seth Rollins
minutes.
versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Seth Rollins retains, which shocked you and me.
Yeah, we were both. So, to go over the thought process as this was happening, Seth comes out first.
Yep.
Oh, he's losing that title. Shinsuke gets
Shinsuke gets a
a
video package.
video package. In
He's
comic
losing that
book
title.
style, Seth's losing that title. The Great Muta is shown in the crowd as being in attendance for this match. Seth's losing that title. 26 grueling minutes later, a hell of a beatdown match. If it wasn't for as good of a match as the Judgment Day, as the tag team, as the Steel City Street Fight was, I would have said that this was match of the night, hands down. But
I disagree. I still think Becky and Trish was above it.
Nah, I put Seth and Shinsuke above it. Sorry, that's my take. But
that's fair.
They really, Seth's really selling the back throughout this whole thing, and we were even questioning is like, are we gonna get a turn after that? Like, are we gonna get a Priest cash in, which was your other called shot? Because they really they even lingered on Seth afterwards. Like, this was a beat down of a match. These two beat the ever loving shit out of each other, and
I didn't.
Go ahead.
I didn't enjoy it as much as you did. I thought it was really long.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could have shaved some time off of it.
It makes sense though that they gave the most time to the main event.
I agree. Yeah. I'm not mad about it. No, but I think it could have been.
And the other two good matches were the only other ones that went just shy of it. So
right. But the back thing seems so manufactured, and I even texted you and I was like, yo, like this back thing came out of nowhere, and you hit me with a good response. You said it's a good way to write Seth off of TV, which he's losing that title. Like, there's our thought process again. But it was just so like manufactured and everything, and then like I don't understand how you're gonna have it be Seth's back is so fucked up, it's so bad. Oh, he retains. Well, okay, so now the next person that's gonna fight him, we know he has a bad back. Like
So the short answer to this,
I'm not mad that Seth retained. The match, it was a good match, but it was a little long, a little silly at times. But I like Seth as champ, so I'm not mad about that.
I mean, I would have been happy to see Shinsuke finally. Also, they pointed out this is Shinsuke's first main event in his entire WWE career. This was his first main event, which seems criminal in its own right.
It does.
But it's also because of the fact that we weren't sure. It made it good because you never knew who was going to win that match. It really could have gone either way, in either one. But the big issue with this that everyone has as well was that there was not enough build, and it did kind of fall kind of flat. That's why it did kind of fall flat when Shinsuke lost. But the other thing that's coming out of this, there was a post-match beatdown after the cameras went off the air that was captured by the crowd. And they mentioned that later, and that carried on into tonight with the two of them brawling in the ring, which that happened while we were getting ready to jump on the air. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
now that we've spent way too much time on these two shows, let's get into some other news.
Hang on. There's one more thing we got to do first.
Oh.
Ratings.
That's right.
What do you give Payback?
I'll give it 3 2/3.
I'm giving it a flat 4.
Okay.
I'm giving it a flat 4. I think there was a lot of enough good on here that we can justify a full 4.
Fair enough. Again, the only thing that takes away from me, it was there's only 6 matches on the card. The Rhea and Raquel match really brought it down for me.
Technically 7 segments still if you count Grayson Waller effect. So still a standard pay-per-view.
Rey Mysterio, in theory, brought it down for me, and the main event being long as it was.
Us differing on the main event is what's costing that extra third of a star for you.
I agree.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great way to put it. All right. Yep. We've done enough talking about wrestling. We're ready to start talking football. We have one major thing to talk about, and then after that is just a whole bunch of roster shifting of who's doing what with these postseason moves. I mean, with these preseason moves. We're getting ready for we're getting ready for the season to start. I mean, we're getting down to everyone nailing down their 53-man rosters. It's the natural progression of the final week of the preseason, but some of these moves were kind of surprising.
72 hours from now, the first game of the season will be ending.
Now, before we can get on any further, we have to address the news that broke right after we got off the air last week.
I love when that happens to us because it happens all the fucking time.
Every fucking time. Especially with the NFL. We've been covering the Jonathan Taylor situation, and it has taken a turn. As it turns out, we reported last week that there were two teams that were reported as being interested. Those two teams turned out to be the Panthers, the Packers, and the Dolphins. Now,
Packers surprises me. Dolphins not so much.
Yeah, Dolphins not so much. That I think he would have been a good fit for the Dolphins. Now, you and me first said when they first started granting him the ability to look for a trade, they're like they want at least a first rounder, and we both scoffed at it. How much more wild did it get?
Dude, so Miami, I'm not familiar with what Green Bay offered, but Miami offered, I believe they did offer him a first round. And Indianapolis came back and said, yeah, sounds good. We'll take the first round, but we also want Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is a wide receiver 1 on
any other team.
27 other teams. He just so happens to be on a team with Tyreek Hill, so he is the wide receiver too. But you want a first, and because if Jalen Waddle went to Indy, he is immediately their wide receiver 1, star player on offense. Because Jonathan Taylor would have left, he would have that would have been their offense is Jalen Waddle.
Now we had
you want a first round pick and Jalen Waddle for a running back that's not even going to play the first 4 weeks of the season.
So we had a huge debate about this in our fantasy football chat as soon as the news broke and everything, because of course we have multiple Dolphins fans that are in our league, and we questioned it. We were like, yeah, no, this is not right, because somebody was just like, I can kind of see it, and I was just like, no, you want Waddle and more? No, even for just a straight up Waddle trade, it was a bad idea. Jonathan Taylor, and I went and I pulled the stats on this. Jonathan Taylor finished last year as running back 24, whereas Jalen Waddle, even being a wide receiver 2, was regularly being ranked in the top 15 wide receivers in the league. You want a running back that finished 24th, which the big discussion all offseason has been the lifespan of the running back. You want
with missing 4 games.
Yeah, who's arguing about wanting a better contract in exchange for a wide receiver that is a top 15 wide receiver again, who, as Dave pointed out, still has 3 years left on his rookie contract. That equates to a lot of money. There is no way in hell that even just a Taylor for Waddle trade is anywhere near even. And then you're going to want to say Jalen Waddle and then some?
Right.
The audacity.
Get the fuck out of here.
The audacity. So, push comes to shove. They don't trade him. They keep him on the PUP for the first 4 weeks.
Stupid.
Absolutely stupid. Just checking on the match.
I want to talk about what we think Taylor's value really is versus what Indy was asking. Obviously, I believe trades can go on to week 7 or 8 now with the extra week 8. So there's this deal still could get done, but
I don't think it gets done. I don't think it gets done at all. No way in hell.
It's not looking good because obviously Indy wants that first, and then when they get offered the first, they're going to argue for, like you said, a top 15 wide receiver. What do you think Jonathan Taylor's value is?
I think it slides even further after this, because after this he's not going to be motivated to play, and I guarantee you by week 5 they're already going to have figured out what they're going to have out of Anthony Richardson, and if he turns out to be as much of a stud as a running quarterback as they make him out to be, then I'm sorry, but that's going to devalue Jonathan Taylor even more.
All right, so I'm going to put it on you and your team. You're a Panthers fan, for those of you that don't know, and if you don't know, how the fuck long have you been watching this show?
Right.
Who would you rather have?
Let's not scare away the new kids.
Who would you rather have, a healthy Jonathan Taylor or Miles Sanders?
I don't know. That's a tough question.
Okay.
That's a tough question.
What would you be comfortable with if Carolina traded for him? Would you feel comfortable getting rid of a first round pick,
no.
knowing that there's an opportunity that you guys could have a top 10 pick this year? Not saying you will, but there's a lot of rebuilding going on in
No,
Carolina.
I'll be the first one to say that we're rebuilding. This year is fucking in the trash.
I don't know. It might not be, man. I think you guys are going to be my sleeper pick.
Actually, that's true. There's a lot of we're in a very winnable division. So
correct. But would you want to give up a top? Would you give up a first round pick for him?
Third round at best.
Third round, okay.
Third round for Jonathan Taylor. I'm sorry, third round or a combination of picks.
I think so. It's a little different for me because like I'm a Dallas fan, and I truly believe in Tony Pollard.
See,
but
that's the difference though. You guys have Tony Pollard, who is a lot better in everybody's eyes than Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is a fringe RB1. That's why I say it's questionable on whether you would take Sanders or Taylor because
I think Jonathan Taylor could be maybe a low first round pick, like 30s and back, if you find the right team. Maybe a second round.
Maybe a second rounder. That's the way I look at it. Maybe you're stretching for a second rounder, but
but asking a first and a top 15 wide receiver,
get the fuck out.
The only player in the league that I would trade that for is Patrick Mahomes.
Absolutely, yeah, I'd agree with that. That'd be pretty much what you would have to take, or any quarterback in that tier.
Right.
A Josh Allen, a Joe Burrow,
Jalen Hurts,
a Lamar Jackson. Like one of those, then you're talking maybe a Waddle and a first rounder, and that's being generous. But even still, like after that, nah, fam, that ain't happening.
Right. So obviously, we'll continue to keep an eye on this saga because, unlike the CM Punk one, this is ongoing, and we'll have to, keep an eye on it.
I'm watching the end of the match actively.
I've got this under control.
Gunther has just... Oh my god, there's a little girl crying in the front. Why would you do that? They just zoomed in on a little girl crying as Gunther got the win.
So he's going to break the reign.
Yeah, it's guaranteed now. He's breaking the reign. Oh, I think that's Gable's family.
Probably.
But, I'm sorry, but that was just an ass beating he just took at the end.
Congratulations to Gunther. He's going to be your new longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. We've been calling it for months, and he deserves it.
Breaking news, my friends. Breaking news. I mean, it won't be breaking news by the time you watch this, but it is for us. We're able to report on it while we can.
And having said that, let him run it back at Fastlane and have Gable beat him.
100%. No, let him run it back in like 2 weeks. Give it like 2. No, yeah, build it up enough.
Right. Give it to him at Fastlane.
Yeah.
October 7th.
Yeah. All right. Well,
preseason moves, the last of the last. Before, like I said, 72 hours from now, the first NFL games will be ending.
Let's just go back and forth with this. So, Patriots cut all their quarterbacks not named Mac Jones. They cut Bailey Zappi, and then an hour later, they cut Malik Cunningham, which, I mean, that's definitely fringing all your bets on Mac Jones there. I think we'll come back to them later.
Kraft and Belichick have talked to Brady, and if something happens to Mac Jones, Brady will be suiting up in New England.
No, because we'll get to that. There's news on that, actually. We'll get to that.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
The Broncos cut quarterback Ben DiNucci. Back to the Sea Dragons you go.
That's so unfortunate. We were so sure he'd have a chance.
Sorry, DiNucci.
Panthers cut offensive lineman Michael Jordan. As you put it, LeBron is officially the GOAT. Fuck you.
Just wanted to make that joke. But Michael Jordan also has an NFL touchdown, and LeBron doesn't.
That's also true. And this is just more woes for our lackluster offensive line. We're going to have a lot of trouble keeping our brand new number 1 pick quarterback safe this year. That's a lot of the reason I believe this year is going to be a dead year. I have a feeling that Bryce Young is going to be running for his life in the same way that Justin Fields was last year.
Might be. Jaguars released tight end Josh Peterson. Not normally something that we would report on because, who the fuck is Josh Peterson? The reason we cover this is because Josh's dad is Doug Peterson.
The head coach.
Like the head coach of the Jags. So ain't no room
There's no
for
nepotism here, at least.
Right. Ain't no room for family and business. Tough break, kid.
It's unfortunate. Panthers have waived Matt Corral, who was drafted at number 94 last year. This leaves only Bryce Young and Andy Dalton on the roster for the Panthers. Two questions. Well, a question and a statement. One, what's the point of passing that third quarterback rule if no teams are going to keep their third quarterback? Because everyone's getting rid of their third quarterback, sometimes even their second. And to add on to that, to our news from earlier, Matt Corral was in turn picked up by the Patriots off of waivers. So he's going to be the one backing up Mac Jones. Good for him.
Which is crazy.
Good for him.
Which is crazy to me because I think Bailey Zappi is better than Matt Corral. Because I know when we first started recording the show, we were talking about like how the locker room in New England was split between Team Zappi and Team Jones.
Yep. So the fact that they cut Zappi was just like it's just as bad as last week when they cut when the Cardinals cut Colt McCoy when everyone was saying Colt McCoy was going to start week 1.
Yeah. Has Bailey Zappi been picked up yet?
I don't know. That's a good question.
No.
Is he still free agent?
He is. And apparently he was blindsided by this decision. Interesting, though. So then the Vikings signed Myles Gaskins after he was released by the Dolphins. So
that's who's backing up Madison this year. I mean, yep. I like it. And like I think Madison still has a lot to prove to be an RB1 with Dalvin Cook leaving. But if you're gonna have Myles Gaskin as your backup on that, as your RB2 in that situation, it's a solid RB2, and that's putting a lot of faith in the Madison.
I agree.
This broke to this morning or earlier today. Brian Burns has held out of a practice for a second day in a row as the Panthers linebacker has been struggling to come to an agreement on a contract extension. Please, for the love of God, don't let him go. He is our second coming of Luke Kuechly, and we cannot afford to lose him on our defense.
You really can't.
We really can't. If we have any shot at building a deep, like Brian Burns is one of those players you build a defense around.
Yeah, absolutely. And then our last little roster move here: 2-time Pro Bowl tight end Kyle Rudolph announces his retirement after 12 seasons.
Great career.
He wasn't gonna. He was with Minnesota, right? He wasn't gonna start over Hawkinson. So
no way. Not after Hawkinson just signed that contract extension. Yep. Which I don't think we even reported on that, but that was a thing too. He signed his extension.
Yeah. But 2-time Pro Bowler, and again, 12 years in the NFL, nothing to fucking shake your nose at. One more. The Cowboys re-signed Terrence Steele, shoring up our offensive line, signed him to a big contract extension. Dallas spent some money this offseason. We paid Zach Martin, Terrence Steele, Trayvon Diggs, and Tony Pollard the franchise tag. So Dallas spent some money.
Yeah. Here it is. Hawkinson's deal was 4 years, $68.5 million.
He's a top 5 tight end.
Top 5 tight end. Top 3 is being a little generous with
top 4. Top 4.
Top 4. Who would you put? Who would you put above him? Kelsey,
Hawkinson, and then I think you could make the argument for or not Hawkinson. I'm sorry.
Andrews is washed up. I'm sorry. That's my call.
So Kelsey, Andrews, and Hawkinson, you could argue, and then oh my God, Kittle. Yeah. Yeah,
I like it. I like that. That's fair. That's fair. All right, let's get in some of these leftovers.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
All right. So this just angers me. I'm sorry, this angers me. The ACC have voted to extend invites to Southern Methodist, California, and Stanford, effective with the 2024-25 season. The dissolution of the Pac-12 continues, and how the fuck can you have 2 California schools in the Atlantic Coast Conference?
I'm telling you, man, we're just moving towards, we're going to have a north, south, east, and west.
It's going to be a thing. It's going to be, which even still, if we're going to be the East, how are you going to have 3 teams from the West come in to make an 18 team? That's the other thing, too. The ACC is now 18 teams large. Sheesh.
Sheesh. But
nightmare for scheduling, but okay.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Reports are saying that WWE secretly signed the Authors of Pain. The rumors are that they signed them back in 2022 while Vince was out of his control or power or whatever. The reports are also saying that they were on an internal travel list back in May. Rumors are saying that AOP could be back on TV within the next month, but they would not be coming back alone. Paul Ellering was instrumental in getting AOP back, and now it looks like all three will be coming back together.
Love it. Love it. Trips was making moves behind the scenes. And this is one of those ones that everyone's been talking about. Trips has been busy behind the scenes until that hiring freeze happened. I think that this was a great pickup. Of course, they had their major failures with WES. Yeah. I mean, they tried. They tried, and I think that them coming back in would be a massive boost to the tag team division. I would love to see them, honestly, I'd rather see them on Raw than SmackDown right now.
AOP versus Judgment Day?
AOP versus anybody, really, at this point. Everything's a fresh matchup at this point.
I agree, and,
give me AOP versus the Viking Raiders.
Yeah,
I know they're both heel teams right now, but oh my god,
yeah,
those two could put on.
And sorry to Drake Maverick, but Paul Ellering being their manager is so much.
Yeah, no, 100%. NFL and WWE this week debuted a collection of championship belts for each team, and as good as they look, it's the closest Arizona will ever come to holding a championship. Shots fired, Cardinals fans.
Those belts looked really fucking good. And honestly, dude, like, it just kind of solidifies what you and me are doing.
Exactly. Like, there is the crossover between the NFL and the WWE. Also, this is clearly going to be like every time a team wins the Super Bowl, this is what they're going to be holding up. Like, I think it's a brilliant idea. It was only a matter of time, and it's a great cash grab. Yeah. And I'm not the biggest fan of the way they look, as big as you are. But I'll be damned if I still don't want a Panthers one.
I'm gonna tell you right now, man. If I was still working in the restaurant industry after my first football Sunday, I'd be buying one Monday morning.
I wonder how much those things cost.
$549.99.
Oh, you've already looked it up, of course.
Damn right I have. I also took a picture of it and sent it to my mom and said, "Don't forget, my birthday's in October." Brian Pillman Jr. officially checks in at the NXT Performance Center. Outside of Cody, this is the first AEW defection to WWE.
It's also one of the very first hirings since the freeze.
But what's his name, go from NXT to AEW to NXT to AEW to Kino something?
Sabatelli? He don't count. Yeah. He don't count. He ain't shit.
Not important.
Yeah, no, not important.
We don't remember it. Not important.
Not important. Honestly, it's good to see Brian Pillman Jr. make the jump over. I think starting him off in NXT is a great decision. To really like build his star. I really want to see them actually play off his history as being the son of Flying Brian. I want to see that, like, them make the family connection, and I genuinely want to see good things for him.
Yeah,
I want to see good things happen. And then our final note: Disney has pulled all of their channels from Charter Spectrum, including ESPN, fueled by an ongoing dispute around TV rights deals. This basically means that if you are in a Charter Spectrum area, like I am, you no longer have ESPN.
Love that for you.
I know, right? Now, before we can call it a show, there's one more thing we have to do. We have Week 1 picks. We finally get to do our first round of picks this week.
Let's go ahead on air right now. Are we going to keep a running tally of the NFL picks?
Yeah, obviously. It's on the same pick sheet as the...
All right.
It's on the same pick sheet as the wrestling picks. I think what we should do here is like a actual, like, instead of this being for a championship, let's see who at the end of the season has the better record.
That's what I'm about to.
All right, yeah, let's do it. All right.
Let's make it a little interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Put Andrew Jackson on it.
Put an Andrew Jackson on it?
Put an Andrew Jackson on it.
I'm down.
Better record and regular season.
Yeah. No, I like that.
All right. We can't get shakes. Fist bump.
Fist bump.
All right.
Yep. Thursday night, our opening match, the Lions at the Chiefs.
And for, I know for you viewers, sometimes we pick different picks for the sake of parity. That will not be the case when it comes to football.
Nah, there ain't no way in hell.
Oh.
All right.
Chiefs.
Chiefs. Let's go and get that out of the way.
Yep.
Panthers at Falcons in the early slot. I also am going for the... Actually... I don't want to be a homer. I don't want to be a homer.
I'm picking the Cowboys 17 weeks in a row. 18 weeks. Well, we have a bye week. I'm picking the Cowboys 17 times. So
I don't want to be a homer, and I have a feeling that Atlanta's going to have it put together early, and it's going to be a home. You know what? I hate to go against my team, but I'm going to say the Falcons this go around.
Okay.
Texans at Ravens.
Ravens.
Was that autofilling? Never mind. Okay. Bengals at Browns.
Bengals.
Jaguars at Colts.
Jags. Bucks Vikings.
Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings.
It's 1 p.m. Sunday. Kirk Cousins. Vikings.
Yeah. Yep.
Titans at Saints. Ooh, this one could go either way.
I'm going Saints.
I'm going Titans, actually.
My buddy Kyle would be real upset if I didn't pick the Saints.
I think they're gonna need a week to get it all put together, a week or two. And I think the Titans at least coming in with a little bit of. I think this is gonna be them leaning on DeAndre Hopkins and why am I blanking on his name? Running back. No. Derrick Henry. Yeah, I think they're gonna be leaning on the two of them to really go far because I think the Saints defense is not gonna be able to stop Henry that much.
That's fair.
All right, Niners at Steelers. Ooh.
I'm going Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to be a very much improved team this year, and I think
I'm still going Niners, but yeah,
I think starting Sam Darnold is. I think they're going to be hurting until Brock Purdy comes back.
Nah, I like it. I'm staying with the Niners.
All right.
Cardinals at Commanders.
Cardinals, fuck the Commanders. I won't pick them once all season.
I will gladly take the Commanders here because let's be real, they're in tank mode. The Cardinals are still in tank mode.
They are, but I'm hoping they fuck up so bad they can at least beat the Commanders.
Going into the late games, Packers at Bears.
This is a tough one.
This one is a tough one. I don't know. I'm gonna say the Bears at home.
I am too. I'm going Bears.
I'm gonna say the Bears at home on this one. I think.
Yeah.
I think the Packers are gonna still be figuring things out, and I think that's gonna cost them. Raiders at Broncos. Raiders.
Give me Denver.
All right. Dolphins at Chargers.
Ooh, Fins up, baby.
This is another tough one, though.
It is a tough one. Tua versus Justin Herbert. Hell of a matchup. Love that. But give me the Fins. I'm here in South Florida. I'm embracing it.
You know what? I'm gonna go Fins as well, just because I think that defense has it put together right now.
Yeah.
And then the final game of the late slate. Eagles at Patriots.
Do not want to pick Philly, but I'm also not stupid.
Right. If I can go against my own team for a week, you can give a well-earned victory to the Eagles. If they fuck this up, though.
Yeah.
And re-recording real quick because we left a matchup off the card real quick. Rams at Seahawks. Who do you got for that one?
I'll take the Rams.
I'm going to take the Seahawks. I think the Rams are still putting it all back together.
Yeah, but Cooper Kupp's back. He'll be back, and he was fucking killing it before he went out last year.
Cooper Kupp cannot maintain, and you've also been telling me all offseason that you really love Cam Akers. So
I do.
We'll see what happens, but I think that the Seahawks are still coming in. They're coming in hot this year. I think they've got this pretty much on lock. They're the best challenge that the West has right now for the Niners.
I agree with that.
Yeah. All right, our Sunday night game, Cowboys at Giants. You ain't got to tell me because you already said it. And honestly, I like the Cowboys too. And then our Monday night game, which I won't be able to watch, Bills at Jets. Aaron Rodgers' home debut.
This is going to be that's a hell of a Monday night game.
This is a hell of a game to make your Monday night game.
I don't know how I'm going to watch it, but I'm going to figure it out, even if I have to watch it on my laptop. Give me the Jets. Yeah, give me the Jets.
I'm going to take the Bills, just for parity's sake.
I don't know. That's
a tough call, though. That is. Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one. All right. Well, there's our picks, and with that, that's gonna do it for us this week.
Football's back.
Don't forget, if you were watching this as this is going up, because I guarantee, like, I'm determined to have this up at least early Tuesday. Tonight, we are doing our live draft. I will be going live around 6. It sucks. You got stuck on night shift.
Another year, I won't be
Another
there.
year where you won't be on the voice chat, but
Check the comments though. I'll talk shit through there.
oh, absolutely. You'll definitely be like, just be in the Twitch channel, like leaving your comments. You can be a Twitcher for once.
All right.
We'll talk your shit. We'll go from there though. We'll go live around like 6:30, so we have time to like work out all the bugs and everything. Other than that, that's gonna do it for us. We'll see you guys next week with all our week 1 coverage. Anything else that comes out, because we're coming off of 2 major pay-per-views, so of course there's gonna at least be something to talk about for wrestling. Yeah, and we will be back for next week. My birthday week, actually. Hey.
Let's go.
Until then, for Bobby Boomerang, I'm Dick Burns. We'll see you guys next week.